Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Guys Who Stared Stats. I'm Cade Kennedy alongside Andrew Santangelo and Ely Noble. And, folks, we are back. Had a busy week last week, but good to be back. NFL Week 4, getting ready to go. And, you look at the schedule, we're one day away from a pretty good one, Detroit, Green Bay, and a whole good slate of games. We'll get to them. Some great, some not great. We'll talk about all of them, of course, but as we get into it, should be a fun slate. As I get the first game pulled up, as always, feel free to like and subscribe to the video and the channel as well. Leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. We always want to hear from you. Are we sleeping on someone? Are we overrating someone? Do none of us know what we're talking about? All those fun things. But as always, first game here, Detroit taking on Green Bay. And my goodness, this should be a fun one. The Lions and the Packers, you get a nice one at Lambeau Field, the Thursday night game on Prime. Detroit, 1.5-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, it should be a fun one, but too bad nobody can watch it because it's on Prime.
Nobody got that.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. Packers should be 3-0. They should have held on and beat Atlanta before blowing that game in the fourth quarter. The Lions, obviously, are a team on the upward trend, so we'll see what they're able to do if they can continue that. And obviously, you still got the Jordan Love story. How's he going to do throughout the season? Are the Packers going to get healthy? So a lot of question marks for me in this game just for Green Bay. Is Aaron Jones going to finally play? Is Watson going to finally play? Two guys they've missed. Well, Watson the whole season, Jones since week 1. So we'll see what happens in this game in terms of that. But you got to give Packers credit. They've been pretty scrappy so far, getting some wins without those guys. The Lions, on the other hand, I think they're missing some guys defensively. I think Gardner Johnson's supposed to be out in this game. So I think it's kind of balanced out in that way. I'm going to take the home team here, Lambeau Field. Give me Green Bay Packers. I think they're able to still get the job done. I think overall Jordan Love's played pretty solid. The Packers defense is keeping them in games. Got to take the home team here.
God dang, what am I supposed to say after all that? No, but this game intrigues me. I think there's been, after last game, there's a lot of Jordan Love and hate.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this one, but I'm going to take Detroit. I think it's going to be scrappy, but I'm going to take the Lions.
It'll be a fun one. I think that's the best thing to say about this. Anytime you get the Lions and the Packers together, it's a rivalry. You're always going to have some fun in the NFC North. But I think Jordan Love, he showed it last week with the big comeback the Packers had against the Saints. Even though he struggled at times those first 3 quarters, he turned it on when he needed to. He was able to make the big plays. He was able to do everything he was supposed to hold on, get that 1-point win. I think the Packers ride that momentum. Thursday night game. It's Lambeau. It's not a frozen tundra yet, but with how they play, it's always suffocating to win there. I think the Packers get the job done at home.
I wish it was 64 degrees here.
Yeah.
I will say, if he starts out like he started last week, though, the Lions won't let it. They won't let that slide because he looked rough in the first half, Jordan Love.
He did, but at the same time, when you're able to turn around like that, we've seen weirder things happen. But the next game, speaking of weirder things, it's the London game. The Falcons and the Jags going at it. Wembley Stadium in London, the 8:30 a.m. game Central Time here, so that'll be 9:30 Eastern. If you're on the West Coast, 6:30 in the morning to get up and watch Falcons and the Jags on ESPN+. But Jacksonville, they're home away from home. They're 3-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Jacksonville's got to bounce back after a bad loss to Houston, especially I'm pretty sure that game was in Jacksonville too, so you can't even use the road excuse on that one. I don't know. Both teams kind of, who knows which direction they're going at this point. London, obviously, it should be a fun game. But give me the Jaguars. Give me Trevor Lawrence. I think they bounce back.
I got the Jags, too. I don't believe in the Falcons. I think the 2-1 record's a little misleading. So I'm going to take the Jags. That's all I got to say on that.
I think the Falcons come out swinging in this game. I think this is one where Atlanta kind of senses what happened last week. Jags had a rough game against the Texans. Anytime you get beat up by 20 by a team that a lot of people aren't expecting to do much, you got to come out and play with some fire there. Atlanta, they saw what happened last week, 20-6 loss to Detroit. I think Atlanta plays well at the start, but Jacksonville's able to overcome it in the second half, and I think the Jags hold on to get a tight win there in our early morning game, our early morning game.
I'll be sleeping.
You'll be sleeping.
I'll be sleeping.
You'll be sleeping.
Did you guys see any of that Jaguars-Texans game? Like, I actually thought the Jaguars were going to come back, and then whatever his name is had that kick return. That just kept all momentum on the Texans side.
Yeah,
But
the one like the fullback returned it. Yeah.
If that kick return doesn't happen, I think Jaguars win that game. So
Listen.
that was obviously a big play in general.
Yeah.
But
You don't doubt Andrew Beck. That's what you don't do. Listen, that guy's name, I have a fun story about him. I won't get into it too much, but it was just funny of all people that he was the one that ran that back. But I'll talk to you all about that after the show. The next game here, Dolphins and the Bills. I am having to hit Command 0 on all these. This computer's a bit squirrely set up today, so just mentioning that for all the viewers watching. If you're wondering why the screen size keeps changing, whoever was in here before us decided to mess settings around. It didn't tell me, but Buffalo 2.5-point favorites in this one over Miami. Dolphins coming off a record-setting last week against Denver. I mean, 70 points. 70 points, absolutely just pure destruction. But the Bills, they had a pretty good week as well, beating up on the Commanders. 3-0 Dolphins, 2-1 Bills. Should be a fun one. Bills, 2.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, first, I'm going to go on the schedule a little bit. It's a crime this game isn't the America's game in the afternoon or a Sunday night game, especially after what they gave us last week with the Chiefs-Bears is the America's game on Fox. So this game, it stinks that's at noon with all the other games going on at the same time. But no, it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I mean, obviously people are high on the Bills' defense, but I think these two quarterbacks are going to go toe-to-toe with each other. We'll see if Waddle's able to come back. This is tough. This is a pick 'em for me, but I'm going to lean Bills. I think, again, they get the job done at home. I think overall that Josh Allen, Davis, and Diggs combos a little bit better, and I think Bills' defense is slightly better.
You want to know why it's not America's game of the week?
Because the Cowboys.
Because America's team is playing America's game of the week.
America's team that hasn't won since '95.
There you go.
Shut up. No, I'm going to take Buffalo here. As I don't think Miami is going to have such a great day offensively as they've had. I mean, they're going to score points, they're going to put them up, but I think they're fixing to play the best defense they've had to play this year. So I'm going to take Buffalo.
You're right. The Dolphins are going to play the best defense they're going to play so far this year. But it's not going to matter. I think the Dolphins are still able to put up points. When you put up 70, I feel like I have to believe in them no matter who they play the next week, just when you have that much going on. I think Miami finds a way. They come into Buffalo. They're able to somehow get into a little bit of a shootout, and that helps Miami get the job done here.
I think you might want to smash the over on this parlay, too.
Over under a 54.
It's going for like 70 at least.
See, Cade, I'm the opposite of you there. Like, when a team goes out and does that,
it's not happening. It ain't happening.
It's kind of like baseball. If a team goes out and drops 10 to 9 runs, or 9 to 10 runs like the day before, it's like you're expecting like a 1 to 2 game foul on that.
That's how I feel too.
And see, usually I do, but there are so many teams where I've seen that happen. But I've seen the opposite as well, where you get someone who comes in, they have 70, and they kind of ride with that a little bit of, okay, you have the ultimate confidence going into that. You feel you can feel on, Miami could come into the next game, feel like they could score in the 85 Bears at will. I mean, that's just how they're going to come in. That's the mindset I think they're going to have. I think it holds on for a little bit. Buffalo will make their plays, of course. Miami's not dropping 70 again, unless they do, in which case, we'll have a fun video next week. But I think Miami holds on and gets the job done. Shows they're one of the best teams in the league, if you didn't believe in them already. And then we got to talk about the real game of the week. The real game of the week. We talked about the Dolphins and the Bills and what a great game that'll be. If you enjoy punting, bad offense, bad defense, wanting to not turn the channel
nap time.
Because nap time. I mean, that you're right, Ely. It could be nap time if you have this one. The Broncos play the Bears. Someone's going to win a game, maybe. They technically could tie, which might be the funniest result possible. I don't mean to pick on Denver and Chicago too much, but the Broncos are 3.5-point favorites in this one, and they got beat 70-20 last week. That tells you everything you need to know about Chicago right now.
Yeah, it's going to be the battle of the bads. I think I trust Russell Wilson a little bit more than Justin Fields. So I'm going to take Denver Broncos here on the road. That's all I need to say.
That's about all.
The only thing I got to say is my love for Justin Fields is going to take in here. I'm gonna take the Bears, even though I think the Broncos have a better squad. I just love Justin Fields, and I want to see him play good and get a win.
Or Justin, I met that like Justin Fields.
I love Justin
in
Fields.
the NFL, like obviously college-wise, everyone was a big fan.
Well, Eli, I hate to say it, but I don't think the Bears are going to go in here. Justin Fields might play better. I mean, I would think he would.
Hope so.
But at the same time.
Not saying much.
Yeah. At the same time, I think Denver's a better team. They're well put together, and I think they have the offense to at least get something done in this one.
They should not be as – it's crazy to me how like they have the skill. Like they have a decent roster.
They do.
I don't get it.
Well, that's the weird thing. So does Denver. Like they got weapons.
That's who I'm talking about.
Well,
Denver.
Well, and the Bears. Like, I mean, like you said, Fields is supposed to be better. They got DJ Moore in the offseason. Like they can go toe to toe receiver wise.
I mean, Justin Fields blaming the coaching.
Yeah,
done it a few
that's
times.
a mess now with the coaching stuff too.
I mean, it's just rough. This whole situation is rough. We're talking about 0-6 teams here when you combine it all together. Just going to be rough. But someone's going to win. I think Denver gets the job done. But look, like I said, like we joked about with Colts-Texans a few weeks ago, maybe it'll tie. Maybe we'll have the funniest result possible. We come back Monday. For the next one here, Ravens and the Browns. Cleveland.
Love this game.
They looked good. They played the Titans. There's no Nick Chubb, and Deshaun Watson went out and had the best game he's had as a Brown. And Cleveland getting rewarded for that 3-point favorites over this 2-1 Baltimore squad that's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, and this Baltimore squad's pretty good. Obviously, they've dealt with some injuries too already this year. Losing the running back, I'm blanking on his name.
J.K.
J.K. Dobbins to the Achilles injury. But I never can trust Cleveland. I still don't have trust in Watson. I don't think he's back yet. He hasn't looked that great to me, so I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson here. Give me the Baltimore Ravens on the road. Again, the division win.
I think the Browns are rolling. I'm taking the Browns here. I think Deshaun Watson's going to keep going, play even better, and they're going to bounce back. Even though they lost Nick Chubb, they're going to fill it in and get the win.
My prediction is Justin Tucker's not going to miss a field goal again for a while. He had his one miss. They got beaten overtime for the Ravens, and he's probably not missing a field goal the rest of the year. That's my one bold take. I'll go special teams for a bold take. There you go. But I really don't know how to feel about this one because
This is a tough one.
This is one of those where Cleveland played a lot better than I thought they would last week. They came out and showed that they could adapt. But at the same time, Baltimore is one of those teams that's just hard to pick against in general because of all the weapons they have. But the last time I believe in Cleveland, they went into Pittsburgh and got beat. So I'm not trusting them again. I'm going Baltimore to get the job done here and hold on and get a win.
Neither one would surprise me, but I think it's going to be a close game. I'm ready to watch that one. That's my favorite game of the week.
That's your favorite game of the week? Yeah. This should be a good one. And speaking of games that are technically going on, the Bengals play the Titans, two teams that I don't think any of us in this room, I don't think most people expected both teams to be 1-2 going into this one. But Cincinnati, 2.5-point favorites as they go on the road to Nashville.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, give him credit. He's trying to fight through the injury, but he's clearly not 100%, clearly not himself. Tennessee, obviously, again, another team that should be better than what they've been playing as. So it's one of those games. Like, you got two teams struggling that could turn into a really fun game if both teams kind of click. And I think the potential they should be able to. Both teams should be fighting for division championships by the end of the season. In this one, I'm going to take the Titans. I think they figure some things out a little bit more. And again, I just can't trust Joe Burrow yet with the health and that line that continues to struggle. And until you see them get right and on the same page, I'm going to have to take the Titans.
I understand what you're talking about with the injury, but I can't trust the Joe Burrow to Ryan Tannehill ratio in quarterbacks. I mean, Tannehill's thrown 7 picks in 3 games, so I'm going to trust the Bengals here and take the win for the Bengals.
The actual ratio is 1-3, but at the same time, you look at Burrow, it's 2-2. So, I mean, it's one of those, this is rough looking, which is weird to think about. But, I mean, how many big-name players both these teams have just.
Not too long ago, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl.
That's true. And then here they were struggling against the Rams a few days ago. But I think Cincinnati finds a way to get the job done. Tennessee is one of those teams that I'm just not that sold on. Cincinnati, my stock has been low on them. Titans are just considerably lower. That's about where I'm at with them. Wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee won. They are 1-0 at home this year. That's their only win coming in Nissan Stadium. But I think Cincinnati comes in, gets the job done, squeaks it out. I guess is the best way to put it. Speaking of the Rams, we brought them up a moment ago. They're playing the Colts this week, and it should be a bit of a battle because the line, it's dead even. This is the pick'em game from Vegas this week. 2-1 Indy playing 1-2 LA there. We'll see what happens. I mean, the Colts, they got their big win. They beat the Ravens with the power of Gardner Minshew. I'm just saying, you got Minshew madness. It's coming back. I will make it come back if I have to, but should be a good one.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I'm pretty sure the Colts are getting Anthony Richardson back, and they said he will be the starter even after the win. So it should be Richardson versus Stafford. I think the Rams got too many weapons in this game. A lot of young talent that are stepping up for this Rams team. Richardson looked okay in the games he's played. Honestly, I think at this point in his career, I'd have more faith in the Colts with Minshew. So I have to go Rams until Richardson proves me otherwise. But yeah, give me the Rams on the road.
I agree with you on that. And Puka Nacua, ain't nobody guarding him. So I'm taking the Rams here easily.
Yeah, I think you got to go with the Rams in this one. The Colts are still trying to figure it out, especially when you have Minshew in for a game, you have Richardson in because of injuries. If he's coming back, he's still, like you said, Andrew, he's at the point in his career where you haven't seen enough from him yet to trust him with anything. So I think the Rams hold on. Stafford's a guy you can trust. And like you said, Ely, it's Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
No one's stopping him. But the next one we got here, an NFC South battle. The Buccaneers and the Saints, both teams 2-1 in the Superdome. Ely, if you could stop reading my mind of Baker, please get a win. I need that to happen. But anyway, Saints are 3-point favorites in this one, which should be a bit of a battle. I mean, you look at that over-under 40.5. That's one of the lower ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, I think this that's another tough one. We don't know. I'd expect Carr to miss 1 week, but they're listing him as questionable. I mean, that was a tough hit he took last week. Definitely can't trust Winston. I also don't trust Baker though. So that's where it gets into a tough call. But Saints are getting a key weapon back in this game in Alvin Kamara. So I'm gonna go with the Saints here.
I'm taking Baker and the Bucks. When Derek Carr went out, who'd they lose to on Sunday? Who'd the Saints lose to?
They lost to the Packers.
Well, as soon as Carr came out, the Packers came back, and Winston did not play well. So I think Mayfield outplays Winston here, and the Bucks start 3-1.
See, I don't know which Jameis Winston we're going to get. If we got bad Winston last week, usually that means we get good Winston the week after. You know, we are talking about Mr. 30-30 here with the 30 touchdowns, 30 picks in a year. He's going up against his former team, so that'll be a fun storyline there if Winston is starting in this one. We'll have to see. I really don't know. I think the Saints hold on and get the job done being the home team as much as I would rather
Cade.
the Buccaneers hold on to win. Listen, I have to be reasonable here, Ely.
The Bucks just look bad.
They
that
did,
game Monday night was
like you were probably about to say, Andrew. It was rough watching it from my perspective. I'm sure you were having a lot better of a time.
Well,
than
I was having fun,
was.
but even the defense, they step up, get a big interception. Buccaneers fumble and get the ball right back.
Yeah.
Second time, they get an interception, first play from scrimmage, safety. And I get it was a tough spot on the field, but they just didn't take advantage of anything, and I don't know. I just can't trust that Buccaneers.
They even brought it up on the Monday night broadcast. Last year was the worst year the Buccaneers have ever had running the ball. Only averaged, a little over 3 yards a carry, and it's worse this year. It's like 2.8 yards per carry now or something like that, which would hold up as the worst rushing offense they've ever had in franchise history. They just can't run the ball on anybody.
And I do like White. I just think that offensive line isn't good. And you see it in the passing game, you see it in the running game. And while it stinks for the Buccaneers because they got plenty of weapons on the outside to help Baker, but if you don't have time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter in the end. And that defense isn't bad. So they got to fix that lineup, and they'd be right there in contention for some playoffs games.
Yeah, and that's why I think New Orleans gets the job done here. It's just trying to beat that offensive line is not that hard. Speaking of a game that should be fun, we talked about Philly a moment ago. Eagles, Commanders, got a division battle. Philly trying to get to 4-0. Commanders trying to shock the world again. But Philadelphia, 8-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, that's due to the home game. That's why it's at 8. I expect the Eagles to win the game through the lines, like the offense and defensive line, like they have been the last few games, as they kind of continue to try to figure out the passing game and then beat you with DeAndre Swift, who just continues to rush the ball well. So I think the Eagles win this game.
I do too, but it's a division rival game, so it's going to be close. I will take Philly here because it's the smart pick, but I hope the Commanders can do something. But I think that it's completely outmatched, so I'm going to take the Eagles.
Did somehow give the Eagles their first loss last year.
They did.
Do not forget that.
Let's do it again, Commanders.
That did happen last year. I think that's the thing that scares me the most about Philadelphia is they're 3-0, but they haven't been fully dominantly impressive in all three, which makes me worried about when Philly gets everything fully clicking. Like Hurts has 3 picks so far. Some of them were a bit head-scratching, especially in that Monday night game where you throw it right to the defensive back. You're just thinking, what in the world's going on? And they still won comfortably. Like, there was still no doubt in your mind Philadelphia was going to win that thing.
That's what's scary.
That's exactly. That's what's terrifying to me about when Philly gets fully rolling, they're going to be insanely hard to stop. And I don't think the Commanders are going to have any way to stop Philly right now. I think the Eagles win comfortably. But we talked about one great game this week. It deserves another 0-3 battle going on. The Vikings and the Panthers in Charlotte. Those poor people have to watch this game. Minnesota's 4-point favorites in this one. But, I mean, it's a battle of who do you trust more. I mean, Andy Dalton came in last week. Panthers looked a little bit better against the Seahawks. If you want to say a little bit better, if you want to say a little bit worse, I won't stop you. Kirk Cousins, he's playing well. He's playing extremely well. But there's a problem. Minnesota can't stop anybody. They absolutely cannot figure a way out.
They got
to
the
do
league
anything.
leader in passing yards and receiving yards, and they're 0-3.
It's impressive.
That sucks.
Well, and talk about not being able to stop anybody, and you get a revenge game here. Adam Thielen's obviously going to want to have a big game here against Minnesota.
He's probably going to.
Yeah, and he will. But I'm still shocked that the Vikings are 0-3 to this point in the season. I think this is where they don't necessarily figure things out. I think they take advantage of a weaker opponent here, and I think they are able to scratch out their first win. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be a pretty win where we're sitting here on Monday or when our next show saying, man, the Vikings figured things out. I just think they're able to take advantage of a weak opponent here and get their first win.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me because the Vikings have been in contention in every game. Like, they could be 3-0, but they're 0-3. I think they get their first win here. I think the Panthers are just going to be pretty bad this year. So I'll take Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, to add to your point, Ely, I mean, looking at a 3-point loss to Tampa Bay, a 6-point loss to Philadelphia, and a 4-point loss to the Chargers. You're in every single game. It's just having to stop somebody when you absolutely have to. And
They led in
Minnesota
every single one of those games.
Minnesota hasn't been able to do that.
Which is funny. It's the opposite last year. They were all in all these one-possession games last year, and they found ways to win it. So it's basically, I guess, the same thing as last year. But yeah,
It's just a flip-flop of everything. I think Minnesota gets the job done here. If they don't somehow, and they're 0-4 going into next week, things are going to be rough for them. It's going to be even more rough than previously thought possible.
If they're 0-4, Cousins could be a Jet by the next game.
Yeah.
And next year, Jettas won't be a Viking.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But the next one, the Texans. Hey, they had a big win. They got a 20-point beat down at Jacksonville going on. Now they get to play the Steelers. It's at Houston, but Pittsburgh 3-point favorites. We'll see how well the Steelers fans travel for that game. They made a lot of Steeler fans, a lot of terrible towels in Vegas last week. We'll see if they can do it again. My money is on yes, but you look at that, just $115 for tickets. We joked about this 2 weeks ago. They're, $7 for Texans Colts? Steelers fans are going to show up in this one. J.J. Watt, I think he'll have a lot of good plays in this one. When has he not had good plays in a game?
Exactly.
But should be fascinating to see how the Texans can bounce back after their biggest win of the season, because it's their only win of the season.
No, I think Steelers win this game comfortably. I think they come out. They had a nice game against the Raiders. I think, again, Mike Tomlin's obviously a very good coach, and he's facing another coach that's only been there for 3 games. So I think that's a huge disadvantage to the Texans in this game. So I'm going to take the Steelers.
I don't care if they win or lose this game. We know what the Steelers are going. They're going 9-8. They're going to have the winning season that Mike Tomlin always has. But I think the Steelers' defense is just too much for this young Texans offense. So I'm going to take the Steelers here.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh gets the job done. It might be a little bit more than that 3-point spread that the Steelers are favored by, but I think Pittsburgh's able to hold on and do just enough offensively that their defense can shut them down. Defense need not apply this next one. The Raiders and the Chargers, we know who the Chargers are. They're still the Chargers, in case anyone forgot.
Lose close games.
Still
every
lose
game.
close games, except when you're playing the Vikings this year. Then it's the opposite. But, hey, Chargers are 5.5-point favorites, and the Raiders, they had a rough week with Pittsburgh. You had opportunities to win it. Still don't understand what you're doing kicking a field goal there with, 3 minutes left in a game to make it a 5-point game. But at the end of the day, oh, well. That's all I could say is, oh, well.
Well, like you said, the Chargers will charge the Raiders will Raider as well. No, I think the Chargers take this game. I think, again, I never trust Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he's that. He's more of a game-managing quarterback than anything, and he hasn't been very good at doing that so far this season. I think this is where we kind of see the Chargers click a little bit, even with Mike Williams. That's another unfortunate. I feel like there's a lot of season-ending injuries already this year compared to previous seasons. But yeah, I think Chargers are able to get the job done.
Yeah, I think the Chargers finally don't have a close game, and they can get a win and not have to like go super hard right there at the end just to try to get it. And I hate that for Mike Williams. I feel like he's always injured every year.
Between him and Keenan Allen, I feel like they never can play the same game, outside the first game of the year.
I know it sucks.
One gets hurt, one comes back, the other one goes down. It's like,
yeah, I'm taking LA here. The Raiders just don't surprise me.
It's the Chargers. That's all I need to say. It'll be a one-possession game down to the wire no matter what. That's just the rule of the Chargers. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They could be playing the Chiefs. They could be playing the Bears. It doesn't matter. That's just how the Chargers are. The Bears, they could be playing the Broncos. They could be playing anybody.
That's
just how I feel.
Is that any different from the Raiders, though? I feel like
exactly. That's what I was about to get to, though. The Raiders are the exact same team, though. I feel like they can do that with anybody. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a fun game, whether you like it or not. It's going to be a fun game for everyone but the Raiders and the Chargers. But at the end of the day, I think the Chargers hold on and get the job done. For the next one, Patriots taking on the Cowboys in that 3:25 America's game of the week slot we joked about earlier. Cowboys 7-point favorites in this one. They're at home trying to bounce back from a not-so-fun week in the desert.
You want to lead
Don't start like that.
It wasn't a fun week in the desert. I'm just saying.
What? Go ahead.
You want to lead this
go
one?
ahead.
Okay. I fully expect the Cowboys to bounce back. I mean, obviously, yeah, we can all sit and joke about that game. But, I mean, everyone at some point has a fluke loss, I feel like. And we joke. I mean, we just mentioned the Eagles' first loss to the Commanders last year. No one expected that. And again, road games are tough to win in the NFL, and that one showed it. It was the first game without Diggs. I think they fixed some things.
A lot of communications on defense.
Yeah, so
There's a lot of miscommunications.
Yeah. So I think they fixed a lot of that stuff, and I'd have a hard time believing they lose two straight against. I mean, I know Patriots are always going to be looked at as a team to be a threat just because of their history in the NFL. But I think we'd all agree the Patriots are not what they used to be. So I expect the Cowboys to go get this home win.
I got a little heartburn for this game. I'm going to be sad seeing Zeke walk on that field in a Patriots uniform, but yeah, I can't see us losing 2 in a row either. It sucks losing to the Cardinals, but I'm not too worried about it. The Cowboys always lose to the worst team they play every year. So I'm going to take the Cowboys. Please win. I don't like getting memes sent to me every single night.
But how about them Cowboys? That's all I'm saying. But I do think Dallas bounces back. Like you both said, I don't think they lose 2 games in a row. If they do, I'm going to be insufferable next week on this show. It's going to be –
I won't be here.
Yeah, you won't be here is what's going to happen. But Dallas is 7-point favorites. I think they'll cover that pretty easily. I think Dallas, they'll play well. If they don't, we got problems going on. But speaking of those Cardinals, they're playing the Niners this week. They shocked the world once. Can they do it again? Survey of Vegas says no. Not Giants. That's the second time I've done that today. Baseball's about to end, so I keep thinking San Francisco Giants because they got eliminated. But Niners, I should say, they're 14-point favorites in this one.
14?
14.
That's a bit high. But no, I think 49ers win this game. I'd honestly take Arizona, though, with the points. But I think 49ers obviously have a lot more talent than Arizona. I do like James Conner, so if the Cardinals are going to win this game, it would just be like how they won last week, manage the game with the run game, kill the clock, and take care of the ball. So, I mean, that'd be their recipe, but I just don't see them doing it against that San Francisco defense.
I do love, from a Cardinals perspective, I do love what I saw from the Cardinals last week, but as much as I hate to say it, this 49ers team is just – they're almost perfect, like a perfect roster. So I'll take 49ers here pretty comfortably, but I'm taking the spread for the Cardinals.
I'll tell you a point about the Cardinals real quick. I mean, they really haven't been playing bad football.
They've had a lead in every game.
They should have won week 1 against Washington. I think they were up 16-7 or something like that. in the second half. I can't remember how they lost the
They're up
second
3
week.
touchdowns.
Yeah. So, it was the Giants game.
Yeah.
So, they should have won the Giants. Like, so they really could be 3-0. So, I mean, this team is playing better than I thought they would, at least.
It'll be close, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, they're not a badly put-together team. You know, we all kind of joked about, tanking for Caleb Williams or something like that, but they're not bad. I mean, they've proved that all 3 weeks. They're not a bad football team. It's just San Francisco's just that juggernaut of a team they are right now. It wouldn't really shock me if San Francisco found a way to win by 14 or 17 or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be pretty for the Cardinals. I think the Niners do exactly what they're supposed to and roll in this one. We joked about bad games. Let's joke about a bad time slot instead, because the Sunday night game is the Chiefs and the Jets. Now, obviously, there's a reason why this was put on Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing, though. He's not going to be playing for a long time. But with how Zach Wilson has been, if you can get Aaron Rodgers back out there on no legs, you could send him out there in a wheelchair, and I think they'd accept that at this point in New York.
Go sign up.
Yeah, Kansas City 9.5-point favorites in this.
This scares me, too, because there's a lot more of these primetime games that are probably going to be coming our way like throughout the season because of Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. So this is probably the first of many to follow. But, I mean, yeah, there's no reason why this game should be close. I mean, the Chiefs' defense is playing very well this year. So I expect the same thing, them to dominate the game. And, obviously, Patrick Mahomes and the rest of that offense will do their job. So, yeah, this game should be over fairly quickly.
Are either of you guys seeing Taylor Swift, posts?
Okay, I was going to get to that in a moment, Ely. Once you say your part.
Okay, I'm taking the Chiefs here pretty comfortably. Zach Wilson sucks. So,
there you go.
I'm
That's all you need to say.
I'm not a believer, but
okay.
Chiefs. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So the Chiefs are favored by 9.5. I think we all agree the Chiefs are going to win. So I'll post it this way: are we going to get more Jets points or Taylor Swift mentions in the game?
It depends on if she's there this time.
It depends on if she's there, obviously. But let's do both. Let's say if she is there and if she isn't.
If she's there, she's getting put on screen 10 times.
Yeah.
And I was watching that game and I got tired of seeing her.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was genuinely frustrated. I was wanting to watch football.
Yeah, it's so overblown. Like, honestly, Travis Kelce, you're dating Taylor Swift. Like,
cool.
We don't need to blow it up and
It's football.
It's the best Kelce Swift duo in the NFL is
it's on the Eagles.
Jason
Shut up.
Kelce and DeAndre Swift. That's the combo you want.
Yes, that's the combo football fans want to see. But everyone else, they're getting their Kelce and Taylor Swift reactions in right now while they can. But hey, that means Kelsey's going to get a pretty good album written about him if it doesn't work out too.
I think the one I saw was once they break up, the first song is going to be 10-yard loss or something.
Yeah, first song is going to be Through the Hands, Incomplete Pass. But
incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete. But hey, we talked about one New York team playing a Sunday night game. Let's talk about one New York team playing a Monday night game. Same kind of reasoning. People wanted to see the Giants do well. They're 1-2. They're in a bit of a bind here. Seattle 2-1. Monday night game. We only have one Monday night game. It's been a while, but ABC and ESPN both could be showing the same game, and the line is even in this one as well for the Seahawks and the Giants.
Yeah, this is another one that stinks because a lot of people bought into that Giants playoff run last year, so I'm sure the Giants are going to get a lot of primetime games as well, but I don't think they're as good as last year. I think that was kind of a nice one-season kind of thing, especially with Daniel Jones there. Give me Seattle on the road. I just have more faith in Geno Smith and Daniel Jones. I think I like the Seattle team overall better, and they have a better coach. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think Seattle wins this one. I got one thing to add. Why? So you said the Jets play at home Sunday night.
Yeah.
And the Giants play at home Monday. Why do they do that to the crew who's got to switch that field over?
Yeah, not only that field itself is going to be pretty damaged too. And that's
because it happened week 1 too.
Yeah. And look what happened week 1.
Yeah. Well, let's hope no one gets injured this time at least.
Danny Jones,
fingers
stay
crossed
healthy.
for that one.
But no,
everyone stay healthy.
Seattle takes this one, I believe.
I think so as well. Like you mentioned, Ely, prayers to the field crew working this one because that's got to be a nightmare to try to turn around in one day. I mean, at least they don't have to flip the logos and everything. Like, could you imagine having to turn that Jets logo into a Giants logo in midfield? Just have the nice NFL shield there for everyone to be happy with. But
don't they put
the end zones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so don't
I think
they put
those
the team
will,
names in the end zone?
Yeah, the end zones will still be
This
messed
weekend
up.
they'll do Giants and one Jets. In the
They should honestly just put New York in both end zones in white and just leave the grass green. Just don't even bother with that.
Or just get rid of the Jets organization and you solve the problem.
So I guess here's a question: If you're the Giants coach or even Seattle, obviously you saw what happened week 1. If a guy's questionable, especially with like a foot injury or something like that, are you hesitant to play? Like with how early in the season? Like I get it, every game matters. I'm not saying every game doesn't matter, but like obviously if it's a week 16 game, it means a lot more than a week 4 game. So like especially Barkley, who's like had injury history. I think he missed last week. I think it is something with his foot. Like, are you more hesitant to play him and actually might just sit him because of the field conditions? Like that's something that, like obviously again you want your best players out there, but I'd rather lose one game than lose Barkley for the entire season.
Well, if you think about it, if you see Saquon sitting, that could answer your question. Yeah. Because, I mean, he finished – did he not finish the game last week?
Did he? Okay, that's what I couldn't remember.
So I couldn't remember if he did or didn't.
I think he did, but that's a pretty good little thought. If you see him sitting, that's something to think about.
It just crossed my mind because, like, again, obviously every week's different and who knows how the field's going to be, and who knows what the weather is Sunday night kind of going into that game, especially if it rains or something like that. But I don't know. Yeah, again, I'd rather, especially a guy Barkley who missed end of last year, and it's just, I don't know, it's something I consider.
It's going to be intriguing. I mean, everything's going to be intriguing. We talked about the field conditions, the two teams kind of both being middle of the road, I guess is the best way to put it. I think Seattle gets the job done here. I kind of like what I've been seeing from in the past few weeks. Mm-hmm. I think Seattle finds a way to get a win here, but I think that might be the bigger question is who do we see that's questionable, does play, doesn't play. It's going to be a battle. Like I said, prayers to the field crew on that one.
Has Jamal Adams played at all this year so far?
I don't know if he has or hasn't.
I don't think so.
How are you questionable for 4 weeks?
Some people just like that.
I just don't get it.
Some people, it's just that kind of, they feel good enough, but then they get
shut down.
Yeah, they get shut down, That does happen sometimes where you feel good enough the whole week, you get to game time, and then all of a sudden you don't feel it.
Yeah, I know Watson's been like that on the Packers.
I don't get
it. On my fantasy team, he won't go in the IR, so I can't put him in the IR slot. And he's questionable every week, and I don't know.
I hope he plays. The Packers could use him.
They need him bad. I mean, they got a nice young receiving core, and he kind of just completes. He'd be the best one.
He's got the most star potential.
But that will wrap things up. If you enjoyed us meandering around for that final game, feel free to like and subscribe, obviously. But no, as always, everything going well, folks. I guess I'm just going to throw one more prayers for the field crew because I feel that's desperately needed for them. It does. It really does. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and all those great things. Ely's going to spin around here and do whatever he's doing. I can't see him with this thing going on. But as always, folks, until next time, have a good one, everybody.
Peace.